If Putin dies, would Russia stop its invasion of Ukraine? It depends on who replaces him, and the resulting chain of succession upon his theoretical death is far from clear, so it's impossible to tell. Depends heavily on how it happens and who takes power and how it all plays out. You could have a hardcore nationalist rise to the top, who pledges to keep prosecuting the war even harder. Or there could be internal conflict between factions or regions within Russia that diverts attention resources away from any external war. Or if we were extremely lucky, maybe someone approximating a sensible reformist manages to take control. Putin was considered a moderate before he got paranoid. Some Russian ultranationalists are legit violent fanatics. They don't bark threats. They just do. Which is a reality we may face, hopefully not. Did he die of natural causes, or was he overthrown by someone who wants to set himself up as the next Putin? Or is this a popular revolution? My suspicion is if Putin dies of natural causes, whoever takes over after him does have an opportunity to end the war, blame it on Putin, and get hailed as a populist and a peacemaker on the world stage. It's not a bad way to enjoy the honeymoon phase of running a deeply dysfunctional country that is only going to get worse in the aftermath of this war. If Putin dies in a power struggle, there is a good chance whoever takes over next earned the top job by promising to continue the war without continuing Putin's worst blunders. Whether that person will be able to continue pursuing the war or not is an open question, but the mandate to seize power probably comes with some promises to power elements. If Putin is toppled the way that Tsar lost control back in 1917, let's remember it was a popular revolution with communists as just one of many elements deeply unsatisfied with the Romanovs at the time, fueled in large part by an army that refused to fight and a home front eager for change. Then I think the war ends while Russia sorts out its own shit for a while. Historically, they would. Russian history has been pretty similar. Wage war and economy tanks, and new leader ends war and focuses on the Russian internal politics. From outsiders' point of view, this is true, but who knows what actually goes on actual Russian politics? My opinion, for what it's worth, is that there will be so much fighting for power that Russia won't be able to wage war effectively. Probably not. More Russians support the invasion than the ones who oppose it. There's a lot of people like Putin to take his place. Even when the February Revolution overthrew the Tsar in WW1, they kept fighting to ensure a positive peace. Only after 6 months, and a second revolution, the Bolshevik October Revolution, they tried to make peace, and even then it took 2 months until an armistice was signed. So short of a revolution, I don't see how this could stop without one side being beaten. Nope. Russia is just run by the boys, which consists of Mishustin, Medvedev, Putin, Naryshkin, and a few other dudes. Every now and then one of them has a falling out and is never seen again and gets replaced by someone's cousin or something. Anyways, everyone in the cabal has to die for that shit to end. It depends if the person that is going to replace him is the one that kills him or not. If he dies of natural causes, they probably won't pull out of Ukraine. But if someone overthrows him, they'll likely pull out of Ukraine the next day. Power vacuums are a hell of a drug. Putin dies, Russia wouldn't announce it until their replacement government was in place. They would feel vulnerable. If the new leader understands that Putin is a war criminal, and if they continue their war on Ukraine, then he would be a war criminal too. Putin might be better than whoever replaces him. It's a complete and utter shit show. Likely yes. I doubt it. A lot of the likely successors are as bad or even worse than Putin, and a big part of the population is still fully behind the war. Russia needs out of the war, so Putin dying would be the excuse they need. But if Putin is hallowed for sake of national unity, the war may be doubled down on and he treated like a martyr by whatever fragile coalition tries to fill his spot. 99 yes. He's the only person benefiting from its continuation. Yes. Whoever succeeds him will want money, and Europe and the US can unlock billions for them. Yes. Putin is having a senior life crisis. His final big thing. Once he dies, people will just cringe and it's over. Shortly after. Dude, if Putin died today, the power vacuum would be gnarly in Russia. I feel like they would have some kind of pull-out plan like the Vietnam War or Afghanistan. Slowly de-escalate and pull out. No, because as proven by NYT, the CIA has been using UCR to fight a shadow war against Russia. This is existential. Plenty of Putin advisors are more hawkish than him. They would try to add more troops or use nukes. An Ukraine friend of mine living abroad told me shortly after the begin of the 2022 invasion, this war can only end when Putin dies. So more as a necessary condition, but not sufficient. I refused to believe it at the time, thinking it will be over within a few months, even starting the quick collapse of the Russian dictatorship. Ha! 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 I imagine so. The whole war seems to be basically the result of Putin's ego run amok. Without his delusions of grandeur and trying to re-establish the Russian Empire, I doubt there would be much reason to continue. Yes, not immediately, but without him it falls apart unless China puppets the Russia directly. Yes, I think so. Even though Putin may have a successor plan we don't know of, or there could be any number of ultranationalists clamoring for the spot, he's concentrated so much power and perceived legitimacy onto himself it will no doubt leave a crisis of trust once he goes. With that crisis of trust and the chaos that follows, the eventual government needs to find a means to recover a semblance of normalcy through diplomatic relations, and that means they absolutely need to distance themselves from Putin regardless whether or not they were a staunch supporter of his or the war previously. TLDR. Even though there are a lot of possible successors currently, all of which are fanning the flames of war at the moment, when the Tsar goes they'll want to change course immediately.